Happy Tuesday, everybody. We got another episode of Mornings with Marcus. Hope you guys are having a great start to your week. And I know for us, we have had our first full week, and we're starting now our second week of our youth kids coming in. I know we'll have more joining in, but we got our solid core group rocking and rolling right now, and it's unbelievable, the energy in the room. We just have a lot of hardworking kids that are really starting to figure some things out, that have now been with us for 3 years, that are really starting to put the things that we've been implementing to work and being effective with those things. So we're really excited about the season. We're really excited to be starting. I wanted to put this information out because these videos are for anybody that wants to watch them, obviously. But the main focus here is to give our kids and our parents even more information, right? We have 3 hour-and-a-half practices a week, but in that hour and a half, we're working pretty much on wrestling. And yes, we do talk about mindset. We do talk about things, but it's hard to get everybody in the same place at the same time and talk about a lot of these ideas. So it's a lot easier for me to just create a video on it, and hopefully everybody shares it with each other and watches it and gives some feedback and let me know what you think, because I'm not right all the time, but I think I have some good ideas. So I'm going to put these ideas out there, and you guys can tell me how good or bad they are. And also, just so you guys are aware, a lot of the things that I like talking about to our kids, or even on these videos, are things that I'm personally working on in my life. So today especially is one that hits close to home, because this is something I've been trying to be reflective on for myself, in my relationships, at home, and at the Wrestling Academy, right? So today we're going to talk about confidence versus ego. And I think sometimes, when we really think about it, we know they aren't the same, but I think sometimes the lines get blurred in our ideas and our concepts between those two words, right? So confidence is rooted in competence, and ego is rooted in self-image. And this kind of lays the foundation for what I'm going to close with at the end of this. But basically, what we're talking about is that confidence is based in your ability to actually be competent at things, to be able to do things proficiently, or at least satisfactorily, in a way that's good enough for right now, as you continue to improve. Whereas ego is rooted in the appearance, right? So wanting to look like a good wrestler versus actually being a good wrestler. And I think that's where you get people who want to protect their status, protect their records, right? Pad their records. They want to find people that they can beat, because they're more interested in feeding their ego than building confidence, true confidence, right? It's a false sense of confidence when it's about the ego. Some other things here is that confidence is open to learning, so it's more of a growth mindset, right? Confidence is the ability to know that I can mess up, I can fail, and still move forward. Confidence is the ability to have setbacks and continue to move, because you're confident in your abilities, in your competence, and your resilience, right? So ego is more resistant of feedback, right? So ego is less interested in hearing the things that I can improve on, and more interested in hearing the things that I'm good at. So a lot of times I am bad about this. I like to talk to people and hope that they are going to say something good to me, but it's because I'm leading more with ego at times than with true confidence, and that's something I'm, again, trying to work on, and being a more confident individual and less of a person who prioritizes my ego. Confidence has a positive self-image, whereas ego is driven by external validation. That's very similar to what we were talking about, right? Is that confidence is knowing that I do the right things and I make good choices, and because of that, I'm going to get good results. And ego is more about what choices can I make that will make the people around me think that I am important or good or successful, or whatever our ego is desiring for that individual at that time. Another thing is confidence is external validation is not really necessary, right? Of course, it always helps. That's why we have medals. That's why we have awards. That's why we have recognition. That's why we honor people with putting them in the Hall of Fame and things like that. There's definitely external motivations that are not all bad, right? What this is saying is that confidence is it doesn't require external motivation, right? It can help. External motivations can help, but a lot of it is the fact of personal standards, personal values. For myself, I know that one of the strengths that I have had in my life that was instilled by my parents was just not quitting, right? So half of the things I've ever done successfully in my life were just a result of me refusing to quit, just not walking away. So having that external validation certainly helps and certainly is a driver, but I think it's really important to have a foundation that is not required upon external validation. It's more about our confidence building and growing as we do difficult things and master new skills and overcome obstacles and overcome setbacks. That's the thing that builds our confidence the most. Ego is competitive versus collaborative, right? So ego is more about winning and looking good, and for you to win when your ego is concerned, generally our brains kind of work in a way where for us to win, someone has to lose, and especially growing up in wrestling, because that is something that's different in wrestling than in life. And I'm a firm believer that wrestling is probably one of the most accurate to life, to real life sports that you can do. It most closely emulates what life is like, but it's not an exact one-for-one replica to life, obviously. And one of those things is that in wrestling, when you wrestle a match, there is a winner and there is a loser. But also when you look at things slightly differently, that's not really necessarily true, right? Because I can wrestle a match that I lose on the score, but I got better, right? And then when you start approaching things like that, then it's kind of a win-win, right? Because if I wrestle somebody that's way better than me right now, and I can keep the match close and compete with them, and not just keep it close by stalling and not perform, but actually go perform well and go take the fight to them and put them on their heels and go attack them and get some work done and make some improvements. And even though I may lose that match, I'm probably going to be better for it, especially if I'm looking at it like that. So the competition part, we do need competition. I don't mean to, sound like you don't need competition. Super important to compete. We're always competing, right? But the ego is more interested in being the winner versus working together, right? So that is more what I would consider to be more like in our practices. We always want to be competing with each other, absolutely. But at the same time, when we're sparring, when we're drilling, there is no competitive part of that other than outworking each other. That's what we want to be competing in, is our effort level, not in the positions, I'm going to win this position. When we're drilling and sparring, that's more of collaborative. Like, how does that feel? Is my pressure right? Do you feel like you could stop that pretty easily? Does it feel like I'm doing this well? Does it feel better than it did the first three that I hit? Those are kind of things where we're becoming more collaborative rather than competitive, particularly in our practices, because it's wrestling. So obviously there's plenty of opportunity to be super competitive. Confidence, and again, encourages collaboration, and ego has the potential for arrogance, right? So ego is more interested again in our appearance, right? And I want to kind of bring this full circle, and kind of the first part, like I said, I'm going to summarize here at the end. And I think the way that I look at this is confidence. The focus of confidence, the essential part of confidence, is growth and competence, right? So the ability to get better and the ability to do a task in a high level, right? To master something. That's what we're after. And I think that once you learn how to get better at things and learn how to learn and learn how to be good at things, it's easier to apply that across your life into various different skills that you want to get better at and improve at. Whereas ego is way more superficial. It's more about appearance. It's about, look at all my medals. Look at these pictures of me on this podium. Whereas, again, confidence is more self-belief that you will be successful, and ego is more concerned with appearing successful, right? So our ego is what wants us to have the nice car and the big house and the new brand name clothes, for sure, right? Whereas confidence is that I'm going to buy the clothes that I can afford, that are the nicest clothes, and I'm going to be comfortable being me because I love who I am and I'm confident in who I am, and I don't really care what you think, right? And certainly you should care to a degree what people think, because that's how we get societal norms, and we can be shamed into better behavior, right? And that's certainly part of living in a society and being part of a culture, absolutely. But at the root of it, having the confidence to be yourself in a productive and meaningful way, where you are being a benefit to society and to others and to the organizations that you're part of, and you're also improving yourself and overcoming obstacles and overcoming adversity and learning how to be resilient. All of those things add to your confidence. Your ego tends to get in the way. Your ego tends to be the thing that keeps you from achieving certain things that you otherwise might be able to. So that's my talk on confidence versus ego. Leave me a comment down below if you agree or disagree, or if you have another idea you'd like to hear me talk about. I'd love to hear from you. Give us a thumbs up, give a like, hit a follow, share it with somebody that you think would benefit from this message. Confidence versus ego. Have a great week, and we'll see you next one.